Merry Christmas everyone out there in YouTube land. I am back for a much briefer video this time, but I did want to do a little Christmas edition, so I have decorated a little bit. See my bookcase with some lights and a little stocking there. There's an interesting story with that. When I was a young boy, we didn't have very much money, so my mom made that stocking for me, and I've kept it all these years. My little Christmas tree and a hand done print of the nativity. It's actually cross stitch. It's really hard to tell, but it's very well done. I have a little company today too. Say hello, Tris. Can you say hello? Here you go. And just some kind of general Christmas decorations. But I was going to take a few minutes and talk about just a couple of items that are new in my collection I thought you might want to see, especially on a Christmas. And the first one, this was a gift for Christmas. Leave my mouse pad out of the way. And this is a edition of John Steinbeck, The Moon is Down. Now this particular book was published in 1942, and this is a first edition, but it is a first edition second printing. There's another printing before this one, but still it's pretty cool. Like I said, first edition printed 1942. It's one of John Steinbeck's later novels, but interesting. I haven't read it yet, but I think it will be kind of cool. The actual first edition, one thing I want to show you. So the back of this, it's got a description there for the book. And you'll notice at the bottom a little ad for buying savings bonds for defense. This was still for the war effort. The first edition first printing has an ad in this same space that talks about sending this book on to military folks when you're finished with it, to give them something to read while they're overseas. But still a pretty cool little book. The other thing I want to show you really has nothing to do with Christmas, but it's a new thing I haven't showed you yet. So this is a paperback. Now I don't collect very many paperbacks, but every once in a while, if I find something that seems worthwhile or worth collecting, I'll pick it up. And this is a copy of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, very famous novel. Talks about people burning books. It's a good novel for folks who are book lovers, because it kind of talks about books there too. But anyhow, the reason I picked this up, so again, it's a trade paperback, albeit the 50th anniversary edition. But the most interesting thing about this one is it's actually signed by Ray Bradbury. So I picked this up for a decent cost, being a paperback, and kind of filed it away back to my collection. So there's that. The next thing, not really collectible at all, but it's meaningful to me. We're back to the Christmas theme. Is this 46 Days of Christmas. This is a book published in 1960. This was a library copy. I'm betting this inside cover is probably from the dust jacket, which is no longer with it. But it talks about Christmas in other countries and kind of how that happened. It's all broke down by date. So, pretty cool book. A lot of interesting illustrations, talking about how Christmas is in other countries. So pretty fascinating this time of year. And then the final thing I want to leave you with is a little volume that's a ghost story of Christmas from Charles Dickens. Now, all of you probably instantly thought I meant Christmas Carol. And while that's here, that's not actually what I was referencing. So this book, this is a recent publication. This is published, I think, 2001? No, 2003. By, I forget the company. But basically, this is a compilation of all of Charles Dickens' Christmas books. So you see it's got a Christmas Carol in it, but he also wrote others. He actually wrote them pretty much every year. So the Christmas Carol was published in 1843. So from 1843 to 1848, he published one of these a year, and he would commonly read them at Christmas time. And in the time it was written, probably the most popular of these was The Cricket and the Hearth. You'll see that as the third one down. But then the final one, which is kind of interesting, The Haunted Man and the Ghost's Bargain. This is another ghost story, kind of like similar in some ways to A Christmas Carol. But in that particular story, the ghost comes to the protagonist and offers to erase all of his painful and difficult memories and allow him the ability to do that for others, which he jumps at the chance, and he figures out that, you know, we're kind of the sum of our memories. So without the hard times, the good times aren't as good. So might be something you might want to pick up and read. It doesn't clean up quite as nicely as a Christmas Carol, which is probably why it's not as well known, but an interesting little book. So that's it for me for today. Like I said, I was going to keep this brief, so I've made this like 5 minutes. But again, it's been good to talk to you again for a second, and we will see you again when I have something else interesting to post about. Thanks. Merry Christmas.